Welcome to Monday Minutes with Mike Rock. My next guest, his story is why I created Monday Minutes with Mike Rock. It is so incredibly powerful that I am so excited to share it with everybody. So I really want to jump right into it. So let me introduce you to Mr. Corey Lee with Realty of Maine. Welcome, Corey.
Hey, Mike, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you so much for opening up and telling your story.
No, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Anytime. So let's jump right into it because, as I said, and I truly do mean it. I mean, your story and the power of having one person believe in you is why I created Mike's Monday Minutes and why I feel like sharing stories like this are so impactful for other people. So you've been in real estate full time now, but you've been doing real estate for 3 years and have been incredibly successful. Certainly if you look at your numbers, they're incredibly successful. But I think the story is way more powerful than the results. I think the story of how you got into real estate and that one person believing in you is just so powerful. So can you just tell that story? I mean, basically what we spoke about, just share that story with the world.
Yeah, so I started out in school. I was never a great student in school, B's, C's, D's, and then my parents got divorced when I was getting ready to graduate. It was kind of a messy divorce. So I got kind of pushed to go to college. Our human resource people said, go to college, otherwise you're kind of a loser. So I ended up going to college, and I drank more. That was probably my favorite class, was drinking, and ended up 1.7 grade point average my first semester, and they kindly said, I don't think college is for you, or at least not here. So ended up getting done college, and after one semester, and my mom said, let's go to Job Corps. Let's try different things. So I went to, waterworks industry. There was on-the-job training. So I went there, and we kind of got the ball rolling with that job, and it was enjoyable. I learned a lot. I didn't really know where I was going. I was sleeping at friends and stuff. I rented a trailer with one of my friends, and it's like mice all around. I mean, 18 mice we caught, and it's cold, and I stayed with another friend in the basement, wake up seeing my breath. I mean, just didn't really have a direction and knew what I wanted to do, but I was a hard worker. I love numbers. And so I was able to save a little bit of money, and I got my first apartment building. My friend said, I have an apartment building that's at work. So that's what I kind of got into, with the first time home buyer loan back in 2015. And actually, I didn't have to pay a dime to close on that property. And so I lived in one unit and rented out the second, paid my mortgage. And that's how it kind of started. So I kept on that W-2 job, and I just saw a lot of miserable people around where I was working. I'd been there 30 years, and I knew, maybe this wasn't for me for my life. So I started looking into stuff, and then I met my now wife, and she's like, you're good with numbers. Why don't you try real estate? And I'm like, well, I'm not good with tests. I'm not good with school, but she saw in me what I never could see. And so I ended up taking my real estate license. I failed 3 times, ended up getting it, passing, and ended up going part-time as a realtor to make sure it's what I liked, and grinding it out with my W-2 job, 50 hours a week at my W-2, then 40 hours, nights, weekends. And she supported me through it all. And it was a long process of grinding. But, now fast forward, I did 85 transactions the last 2 years, and we have multiple investment properties. We have 14 doors, and try to help anybody I can. If I can help one person see that, what they have inside of them, and just know, I was 26, 27. I didn't know what I wanted. And so even if you're 35 or 45 or even 55, like, life is very short. A lot of people die every day, unfortunately, and just want somebody, if they have a passion for something, give it a shot, because there's always a W-2 job out there. You're looking on Indeed, right, Mike? I mean, there's 100, 1,000 jobs out there. So the biggest thing I see with people is regret when they're older. I ask people all the time, what's the biggest regret? I didn't try. I didn't go out and try something on my own, and I just was content with it. And that's the big. I just don't want people to regret that kind of stuff.
That just gave me the chills. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, your story is amazing. Going from where you came from, just working hard, grinding it out, and now becoming incredibly successful. I mean, it's wonderful. I mean, and that's the story that I wanted to share with everybody, and just kind of help them see believe in themselves, find that one person that can help them believe in themselves, and just really kind of chase your dreams. So what advice, I mean, you've 85 transactions in 2 years. You've seen a lot. What advice would you give buyers and sellers in this current market?
Yeah, it's a tough market. Interest rates are a little high, but as older people tell me, it's not 10 or 15 like it was back in my day. And if you rent, you're paying 100% interest rate. You're not putting anything. You're just making your landlord rich. Really, you're not doing anything for yourself. So there's stuff out there, and Mike, I know, can help, and people can help, but very little down. But it still is a good market for buyers. You're not 10 offers above asking. You're not fighting now, so you could probably get a lower, offer lower, and possibly get accepted. We can negotiate on your behalf and get closing costs maybe paid for, buy downs. And hey, you get a good house that you want. Not as much pressure, and if interest rates go down in a few years, we can always look at refinancing. And on the seller side, it's not as crazy as it was, but I think it's leveled out, so it's worked for both parties. But if you have the right agent and price it where it should be, not so high, and have good photos and good marketing, somebody that is good on social media and markets your property correctly, you could see multiple offers and still get above asking. So it's still a good market for both, I think, and come on springtime here, and start seeing more houses come on, because inventory is just so low. So it's still tough.
Yeah, opportunity. That's what I heard there. Opportunity for both sides.
Yeah.
So the last question I'd like to ask you is, what advice would you give your younger self?
Yeah, I just kind of tell myself that, stay determined. We all have stuff in life that comes up, and it can easily get down and just kind of not really do much, and just kind of mope around. Why me? But if you can just stay positive and just find a little bit of momentum, and have that one person that can see you, or your family, people behind you that can really compliment you and help you out, then I think you'll be in a lot better spot, because momentum is scary. You get a little bit of it, and then it just keeps going, and you end up doing great things, and it can change quick. So
that's amazing. I mean, take that momentum and just run with it. And so if it's okay with you, I'd like to offer, your contact information to folks that kind of maybe in a similar spot, that you were a couple of years ago in that W-2, not sure, just to maybe chat and just kind of help with that motivation, and maybe be that one person.
Definitely. Yeah. I'd love to help anybody. I mean, rentals, investors, want to be a realtor. I'm always looking to hire realtors. My agency, happy to talk with you. Or even if you just, W-2, you don't know, you have something you want to do, can kind of tell you how I kind of did it and stuff like that. So happy to help anybody, always.
Awesome. Corey, thank you so much for taking the time. The story is so inspirational. I hope it touches people like it touched me when I first heard about it. And so I hope you'll come back in a few months, and I have so many more questions to ask you. So hope to see you again.
Definitely, Mike. I appreciate you having me.
Of course. Thank you so much.